The next thing I want to talk about is skid protection. We've designed the motor mounts to integrate the lower skid hoop. So oil pan's completely protected, as well as the tranny and the transfer case. The transfer case on the Longhorn 2-seat with a TH350 5.3 does not extend past this rear lower mounting bar. Those two tabs right there are actually the collar that we sell for the Atlas tail shaft housing support. So the yoke sits just about an inch past that bar. So the Atlas is completely contained within the belly pan, and these two cutouts right here, whether it's passenger drop or driver drop, will allow you to put or pull the transfer case out through the floor if you needed to. You can go out the back, or you can go out the bottom, so you got lots of options there. A couple other things. I don't want to get too lost in this video, but the chassis got a super aggressive stance. The roof line is raked pretty good, and the intrusion bars are nice and tight, and the eyebrow of the roof comes down super low. Gives the chassis just an aggressive look. The entire chassis is CNC cut on our in-house Tube Dragon, fully coped and bent here, all in-house. So we don't sublet out any of our work. Each chassis comes off the same fixture, and we can offer repeatability and precise chassis building the way we do things here. The last thing I want to touch on is suspension. So these tabs up front here for front coilovers, we designed the tube work and the nodes to pinpoint those upper coilover tab placement. Gives you a great starting point if you're running 14s or 16s. You can obviously rotate that tab depending on your configuration, but we've kind of done the homework for you on that and given you a spot to put that. And 1-ton axles are perfect for this chassis. The way the tabs are designed up top, they point right down at the outside of the tube work on where the inner C's are, and super easy to go. In the back, you've got two options. You have the option to run either a trailing arm setup or a conventional axle mounted shock. So conventional axle mounted shock would mount somewhere in the neighborhood of right here, and this rear fender bar kicks way in, so it gives you a nice easy spot to mount those rear shocks if you want to put your shock on your axle. Or what we do mostly is trailing arms. So this setup right here will allow you to run trailing arms. So it's a series of 3 tubes, one of which is bent, and the location of this bend can change wherever you want to put your trailing arms on, or wherever you want to put your shocks on your trailing arms. So we've kind of pre-configured it, so you either get a 0 or a 5-degree rake forward in this configuration, depending on where you mount your trailing arm brackets on your lower link. So this is another option you can add to the chassis for the trailing arm setup, which, again, this bump in the lower tube right here allows for coil spring clearance when you get fully extended at droop. So anyways, just wanted to touch on a few basic components of the chassis and why we've done some things we've done. We offer multiple door bar, and I mean door bar by this configuration right here on the outside bars. Multiple door bar options. We offer a round fender and a flat fender in the rear. And then we will be coming out with a 5-seater next spring, and that 5-seater will have the operable door option that we're going to have. So we'll have our 4-seat chassis turned into a 5-seater, and it'll have doors that open. And the operable doors can be an option for existing chassis owners because the The two main structure tubes in the door bar don't change. We've configured the door setup around those two bars. So if you have an existing chassis and you want to add doors, you just cut 4 tubes off, add the doors and the hinges, and you have operable doors. So I'll cut this video short now. Next video, we'll go over component location and other details that make the chassis a great option for you for getting into a buggy. And yeah, stay tuned for the next video. We'll get that coming right away. And if you got any concerns, questions, comments, feel free to leave them down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for more off-road tech.